All right, everybody, welcome back. Today is Saturday, September 7th, 2024. Flying solo today. Putting a little work in on the battery rack for the 60. 60's been kind of parked away for the last couple months while Bobby worked on his drip rails. What I've done so far is I made the pump bases and I'm starting to make the battery boxes. So real easy. This is 2-inch flat bar, looks like 1/4 inch thick. And these blocks are actually different from the normal. They're only 5 inches, and the center hole is 15/16 off of the edge. When your standard pump is usually a 6-inch block, and the center hole is usually a 1/2 inch in. So these are unique. All I did was cut some 5-inch plates and drilled some oversized holes to allow a little bit of movement to adjust the pumps and get them squared up whenever the time comes. These are just some leftover bolts. I'm going to be getting some different bolts and lock washers and washers. So I got these 4 things made this morning, and what I'm getting ready to do now is make these battery boxes. These batteries have went up in price. These I got them from Freightliner, 18-wheeler supply house. They're 950 cranking amps, and they would normally be $106. Group 31, 950 cranking amps, $106. But without a core, they're $35 more because I don't have a core. So 6 batteries is roughly $900, which is crazy. But it's the last big expense for the 60, so I'm ready to get it over with. I did pick up some materials for the rack last weekend. That's about $45–50 worth of steel, and along with some other scrap left over from the 68, I think I have enough to make a rack. What I'm doing now is I'm making the battery boxes. So this is 1-inch square tubing. I cut 8 inches long. I found some leftover nuts and bolts that fit in. They're going to be welded in. And so it's going to have hidden bolts on the hold downs, just like we did on the 68, if you guys remember that. So what I'm doing now is basically it's going to have 2 bolts holding down with a flat bar, 1x2 flat bar over there. Or I'm sorry, not flat bar, 1x2 box tube, rectangle tube. Holding it down over the center, and the bolts are going to be hidden inside the tube, so you're not going to see any bolts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this battery box out of 1.5 by 1.5 by 3/16 thick angle iron. Right there, I got 2 5-foot sticks, should be enough. I got some in the back also. Gonna cut 2 boxes out, set the batteries in there, and then make my top hole down. I don't think I'm gonna do any welding. I'm gonna leave that for Bobby. Bobby called in sick today. Hope everybody wishes Bobby well. But I'm gonna get everything cut, and then next time he's here, weld it up. Unsure on the pump mount. We haven't quite decided that yet, but I do have everything to make it. So back on topic, let me get these battery boxes cut. All I'm using is back here, chop saw. I've had it for 15 years. It's a rough cut. Some at Home Depot, some at Lowe's. They're about $200. And that's what I'm using. I got some scrap back here, got some more angle. And I got some heavy duty stuff, some 1/4 inch thick box tube that we're going to use for the pump base. Real heavy duty. So anyways, let me get these boxes cut. Like I say, these 1-inch box tubes are 8 inches tall. Get both boxes cut here, and I'll bring you guys back. All right, so here we are, end of the day, end of the afternoon. I got both battery boxes built. They're just kind of mocked up. Nothing is welded. Didn't do any welding today. So basically, you got an inch box tube in between the two batteries. and then just 1.5" angle iron, cut at 45 on the corners. Now tap them in and fit them up a little better. Did get these little bullet 3/8 bolts. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Got these pump plates made. Got my ground. So the ground is going to be going somewhere around here. Cable bolted to that. I did get my solenoid brackets made. This is 1" by 1" angle iron, and I did drill them 1/4" bolt, 1/4" by 20. It's actually threaded. They're tight right now, but I did thread them. I did thread the angle iron, so they're bolted, threaded, and I did make the little wire connector. Use some heat shrink. So the solenoid brackets are done. Going to be running two solenoids per pump. Going to be running 36 bolts per pump. So real pretty basic setup, although it's going to be kind of intricate. It's still a real basic wiring setup. Ran to the hardware store, got the pump bolts, 3/8, and I did get these bolts. So let me show you guys what I plan on doing. All right, so real quick, forgive me, the neighbor's doing some yard work out there. What I plan on doing, these are 5/8 bolts, grade 8. Plan on welding the nut inside the box tube. Okay, I'm gonna weld the nut, all 4, inside the box tube. That box tube is welded to the frame, got 4 uprights. Okay. All right, so those uprights, I cut these sleeves. These sleeves are 3/4" by 3/4" box tube, and they slide pretty snug over those uprights. So what I plan to do is gonna cut some round holes through this rectangle tube. This is 1/4" thick, pretty heavy duty stuff, and then actually bolt them down, make these subframes bolted to the uprights on the frame, and then the battery racks, the battery boxes, are going to be welded on top of this. Okay, and then the pump subframes are going to come off of these. I made these 1.5" longer front to back, so there's some area to build off of. I have some 1.5" by 1.5" box tube, 1/4" thick, heavy duty stuff. We're going to build the pump subframes and then go from there. May have a little upright for the pumps with the pump plates I just showed on the table, but that's my idea. So essentially, I think the entire rack can be built as one chunk and still be removable to powder coat it or paint it, or maybe chrome it if anybody wants to send me some money. And I think the whole thing can be assembled and removable as one chunk. That's the objective anyways. Hadn't decided how I'm gonna cut these or how I'm gonna shape these, just kind of messing around with the Sharpie. Undecided, but it's not gonna be square. It's gonna either be round or pyramid shaped, or I don't know. We'll see. But we're gonna have to slot these things and make them where they bolt in so the bolts are hidden. But yeah, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna lay the whole setup on this black carpet right here, get a better idea how things are going to look. I'll bring you guys back once I get that done. All right, here we are. It's pretty much the gist of it. I like to run the solenoids on the inside so they're kind of out of sight, left and right. I'm going to be running 2 separate banks of 36 volt. It's really simplified, a lay and play, up and down. We're not trying to hop. We're not trying to do anything really. We're just trying to pick it up to drive and drop it down when we park. You guys seen the setup before, hopefully. Previous videos. Had to throw the shirt in there. Yeah, I'm gonna paint the batteries when the time comes. Like I say, still up in the air about what I want to do with the rack. I think we might elevate the outside pumps a little bit to give a V shape, maybe to go along with the contour of the wing. Could be something we throw in there pretty easy. But yeah, I'm just going to take a rough measurement here to make sure this actual layout fits inside the trunk. We could have to maybe come a little bit closer in between, or if we have room or not. We're going to have to figure that out next weekend. But yeah, this is going to be part 1. Hope you guys enjoyed this, kind of roughing it in. I think part 2 we'll probably get the thing welded up, and then part 3 might be final assembly and wiring it up. But overall, I mean, the rack materials were, I spent 60 bucks, and then I had some other scraps, so let's just call it $100 for the rack materials. But there's little things that you can do in your trunk that makes things look better. You know, disregard the pumps; those were not cheap. But little things like this, these things are probably $1 a piece. Acorn nuts, 3/8. You know, the solenoid rack didn't cost any money. It was just, you know, we used the heat shrink and you know, new wiring and bolted them in. You know, little things like that. When it comes time to do the battery cables, we're going to use heat shrink for that. Just little things like that that don't cost a whole lot of money, that you can do yourself and, you know, improve the appearance and safety factor. You know, grounds are important. You don't want to shortchange yourself on the grounds and then catch a fire and your car goes up in smoke. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this little part 1. Y'all stay tuned for more work. Part 2 will be coming up here in a couple weeks. Thanks for watching.